I made a mistake. They weren't the one. This is like what's gone on. At first, I was blaming myself, and then I realized it's not my fault. I mean, I knew his behavior wasn't really my fault, but he was saying stuff about my anxiety, trying to pin his bad behavior on my anxiety. But I was more and more anxious because of the way he was behaving, because he was inconsistent.
Welcome to Shifty Choices and Laughter Lifts, and today we have the asexual entrepreneur Sandra Bellamy, and soon we'll be talking about asexuality. But for now, Sandra, please welcome and introduce yourself, who you truly are beyond being the asexual entrepreneur.
Okay, so I live in the UK for a start, if you want to know where I live, and I'm loud, bubbly, energetic, talkative, quirky, different. I like to stand out from the crowd. I don't like to follow society's rules just for the sake of it. Obviously, if I think something's good, I'll do it, but I like to be different. And before the Asexual Entrepreneur, I was known as Quirky online. My actual book imprint is called Quirky Books, because I like being different. I'm born to be different. And I think that's a huge good quality about me. And I like being bubbly, loud, extrovert. I used to be introverted though, up till the age of 10. So I lived a different life back then, but I'm much more happier being bubbly, talkative, me. And I think talking's an art form. So sometimes I can talk a lot, but I like it as an art form. I think it's very important. So yeah, I have been on dating sites for 10 years. I'm having a break from that at the moment, but so I do talk about my asexuality on there, but I also like theme parks, zoos, aquariums, going out for meals and to the cinema. And I changed my mindset in 2012 when I went to my first business seminar from, well, basically I changed my mindset to being 21 years old. So using neuro-linguistic programming. So I went to a success resource event in London, and that was the first time I saw Tony Robbins live on stage. And I was just like blown away by the event. And he got us to change our state through movement and music. So up until that point, I'd suffered with depression. And I realized that event, that I was actually born to be younger. I was born to be my true authentic self, which isn't playing by society's rules, which isn't doing washing up and cooking and cleaning for a guy. It's being my quirky teenager self, like 24/7, and not doing things that don't make me happy. So I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia that year as well. And it took me 6 months to come to terms with the fact I have a disability for life. And I realized in that moment that if I continue to talk negatively to myself, this was 6 months later. So I was diagnosed in January, came to this conclusion around July 2012. And I realized that if I continue to talk negatively to myself, then I would end up on crutches or in a wheelchair like so many others with the condition. Because what we talk about, negative self-talk, affects our emotions and our physiology, and it makes us in a lot more pain. So I just stopped talking negatively to myself, but I didn't love myself still. I was like, okay. And then when I went to the Success Resource event and saw Tony Robbins, that's when I realized that I'm born to be this younger teenager self that I was always born to be. And I love music. I love high octane energy music. I love young stuff. And the epiphany was I'm meant to be this young girl, not this birth certificate age that everyone focuses on. I'm not even interested in my birth certificate age. I separate my birth certificate age from my mindset age, and I live like a teenager on purpose and love it. And I came alive that day. And I also realized from a lot of the other speakers that day, as well as Tony, of all the special qualities and skills and knowledge and experience I'd gained over the years that I could use to help others. And that was the start of my self-love journey. And so I really got into entrepreneurship, but it wasn't from like, I really want to make a ton of money. I'm still, although I do a make money, make cash channel, I'm not actually motivated by money as my first driver. I'm motivated by a sense of responsibility, then achievement. Third is my money. I've actually done a test for this, but I know. So for me, I get joy and pleasure out of people, making people happy and educating people and helping them grow like I like to grow, and making people feel good about themselves and understanding that they can change their lives despite disabilities, despite mental health conditions. I don't think we have to hide all those parts of us. I think we can show those parts of us to the world and say, in spite of this, I can do that. And I think that's really important.
I love that. Let's just take a minute and breathe.
You want to see the real me? The real me is I don't breathe. My physio said that recently to me. You don't breathe. I said, I thought I was just in my head. I didn't realize other people can see that.
So yes, as Yuan could notice by now, she does have this bubbly energy that she said. I think my question to you is how difficult for you to slow down?
I think other people want me to slow down. You know, like I'm not a nature person. Like everyone pumps, like, go and be in nature, go and be with trees, it'll make you feel better. But that's what society thinks. That's what the majority of people think. It doesn't actually bring me, like, I lived out in the countryside for years and I hated it. It wasn't what I was born to do. And I get pleasure and happiness out of having high octane vibration energy things that are on my same wavelength. So when I go to London, for example, and I'm on the tubes, I love it. I chill out because that energy of the motion of the tube and the high octane buzz of London, it suits my personality and I feel calm and peaceful there. When I'm in Disneyland with lights, camera, action, music all the time, that is my element. That is me. But the world doesn't want us to be like this. They want us to be calm and meditative and all this type of thing and out in nature all the time and hiking and walking and all this lot. And I'm like, it's not who I am. I get peace from doing different things. I get peace from going to the cinema, turning my phone off and being in the moment. It feels like a Disney moment to me when I go to the cinema. So
Right.
I'm very different, but I do listen to positive affirmations every morning.
Thank you. My turn now. So, share with us what is your normal daily routine then? Because yeah, it does sound very busy.
My normal daily routine. I just work a lot. If I'm not out, I work a lot. So I plan and schedule everything usually. So this week I've done, like there isn't any 2 weeks identical, right? So this week I've had like a training session. Then on Monday, Tuesday I've had a coaching session. Wednesday I've had a training session. I'm doing this podcast today. Oh, sorry, Wednesday was a networking session. I'm doing this podcast today. Tonight's a training session. Tomorrow's a training session. Then I'm seeing my best friend on Saturday. Then I'm seeing my dad for Father's Day on Sunday. So like that's like a week, but I don't have the same weeks. But every Sunday at the moment, I usually make a special effort to always self-date now every Sunday. But I'm going to see my dad for Father's Day when I'm recording this with you. So that's different. But I'll probably swap my self-date day to Monday to make sure I get it in. So I think it's a very good self-care practice. But that's usually going to the cinema because I feel it's magical and wonderful and it lights me up. So yeah, every day I'm working, like growing. I'm usually going on YouTube, like watching an educational video or I'm reading. I don't actually, even though I'm a writer, I don't like reading that much. But at the moment I'm reading stuff for a course. So that kind of goes with the course I'm doing.
Oh, and
So,
by the way, we're not going to be having Tony Robbins or Success Resource sponsoring this podcast, so we don't need to promote any other names you may have. Just suggest, okay?
okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
No, I'm just joking with you. I just found it was very interesting. Yeah, lots of people love to talk about Tony. Not my case. I have done all of his training, and to be fair, I think it's amazing when you understand the methodology, but also when you see that everything is just a script. And I am like you, I don't like to live my life under any rules, under any script whatsoever. You know, freedom is also extremely important to me. Let's talk about sexuality. And it's interesting because I do have a book about sexuality. It's called Awaken to Embrace Vulnerability and Sexuality. And lots of people think that it's about sex and sexuality. It's basically everything that we are and not necessarily about sex at all. But you are someone that does not enjoy the intercourse as sex. And this is something that we would love to explore now with you. I would love to know from you, because I know you explain extremely well what asexuality is. Please explain also the two types of asexuality and also when all of these started to you.
Okay, so asexuality is a sexual orientation that's based on a lack of sexual attraction. So for me personally, I'm a hetero romantic asexual, which means I'm attracted to the opposite gender. So I'm female, attracted to guys romantically, but not sexually. I actually have up to 8 attractions for guys, but none of them are sexual attraction.
Mhm.
So how this plays out in dates or a relationship is I can kiss a guy literally for hours because I'm a hyper romantic and a hyper kisser, which is very rare for the whole world of sexualities, let
Not for
alone
me.
asexuality. And so it means as a hyper kisser, I can kiss for hours, like 4 hours or more, nearly non-stop, and never get bored. I love kissing. Kissing's my thing. I adore it. And so I don't get those urges. So a lot of guys say to me, like, how are you controlling those urges, those, sexual urges? I don't get them because I'm asexual. So I don't have a innate need or desire or want for partner sexual intercourse. I don't look at a guy and think, I want sex with you. It just doesn't play out in my head. And I much prefer the kissing and everything like that. So asexuality is a sexual orientation, like I said, based on the lack of sexual attraction, but it's also a spectrum. And it ranges from the pure asexuals who don't
Mhm.
want any who don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever. So the pure asexuals don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever. So they're like me, they don't have a need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse. But then we have the grey asexuals who experience sexual attraction, but either not enough to want to act on it, or they only experience it in rare, limited, or specific circumstances. For example, demisexual only experiences it when a deep emotional bond has been formed, usually maintained and sustained. Otherwise, they don't experience it. They don't experience that sexual attraction. That is different to a person just waiting for the right person to come along or preferring an emotional bond to be present. These people can't experience sexual attraction until they've got that emotional bond. So it isn't a
Mhm.
preference. And I have to say, asexuality isn't a preference. You can't make yourself be asexual. It's not an experience. It's not like a coat you try and emphasize. And it's not the same as celibacy. It's not the same as abstaining. It's a genuine sexual orientation. I've always been asexual looking back at my life, but I didn't realize that until 2014. So when I went to a counselor and I told her I was worried because I wanted romance and kissing without sex, and the expectation of sex at the end of the night with a date with a heterosexual guy was making me almost wet myself. And she said the worst thing she could have possibly said, and that was, you're going to have sex if you want to keep a good guy. And I was horrified.
I have listened this in one of your interviews, and I was like, what? Because the job of a counselor is not really to give, advices in that way. And this is, I have studied the counseling skills. And I really see myself under the therapist where I can actually say whatever I'm feeling and sensing when you share that. And I was like, wow, it is the type of people that can actually destroy people's life instead of giving them the support. Because I wonder what sort of impact that has had in your life.
Well, I believe everything happens for a reason. And had she not done that, I would not have then gone out and Googled, I love kissing, but not sex, and found the asexual community and found people like me. So I was actually relieved in the end. I wasn't happy with her. I left the situation. I didn't leave immediately because I don't believe in making decisions hastily or when we're in a high emotional state, because I was upset, really tearful. So I believe in going away and thinking about it and then making the decision from a place of power.
Mhm.
But when I went to, when I went online, I saw asexuality.org, which is the biggest online forum for asexuals. And I was reading some of the forums because some of them are private and some of them are open to the public. And I saw there are other people like me that wanted a romantic relationship without sex. And I thought I was the only one in the world, planet, and universe that felt this way. And then when I saw there's others like me, it opened up a whole new world to me. And I felt so relieved that I finally found my true identity rather than one society gave me. Because society tells you, pretty much most people, that you're heterosexual, that everyone has to want, like, need sex in order to be happy and have a healthy relationship. But that isn't actually true for the people who don't want it, need it, like it. Do you know what I mean? It's not healthy.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I was relieved and I thought, oh my God, this is back in 2014. And then 2015, I started my asexual life channel to help other people. So, and I started doing asexual meetups in January 2015 as well. So yeah, it changed my life in a better way. I got good in groups. I used to have huge social anxiety, But then when I started doing the asexual meetups from January 2015, I did them for a number of years. Then I just grew in confidence in groups, and I was able to like be the host and the organizer. It took a lot of doing. I have courses out in how to arrange asexual meetups as well. So yeah, it changed my life for the better forever, really. So I'm really happy.
So let's talk about orgasm. Have you ever experienced one?
No, I don't understand really what it is. I mean, I get told what it is by other people, but I can squirt and I can like come and stuff like that, but I don't consider that an orgasm. And it really doesn't interest me, orgasms. I don't actually like my body being out of control or anything like that. I'm very sensitive down there. So I have had sex in the past, by the way, just for your viewers. I've had been in sexual relationships in the past, and had sex with 5 guys in relationships in the past before I found out I'm asexual. But that was more because of society telling you and what's expected of you, you know, rather than me being like, oh, I want to do this.
If you don't mind me asking, does all of the 5 has been frustrated experiences?
No, the last one, he was really good at sex. That's why there's a huge myth about asexuality. You just haven't had good sex. But my last partner, the 4 not good. The last one, the long-term relationship, was really good. He wasn't good in every other way, but sexually he was really good. He put my needs before him and everything like that.
Now, what is Sandra's definition of being really great at sex?
So, being someone who's really great at sex.
No. I just want your definition. I don't want the books. I want your own experience, because I know what's my own definition. So you please share what it means to you, because you had 5 and you said one of them, it was really great at sex. So
yeah,
what does that mean to you?
Because the guy was good at foreplay. So obviously it helps if a woman is wet before she has intercourse. And it helps if she's got like a lot of touching and caressing and cuddling and all that type of thing before you actually have intercourse. This is the difference between guys who are good at sex and bad at sex, right? The guys who are bad at sex would just stick it in sex.
Again, we just want to know your definition. We're just talking about you. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And I know this because I talk about sexuality loads on my channel, even though I'm asexual, you know. So and you know, so he put my needs first, actually, which I think if a guy puts a woman's needs first, because a lot of the time a woman does need to, I mean, some women don't, but a lot of the time women do need like kissing and touching first, and it does help with lubrication. So yeah, so he was good at foreplay. I actually preferred the foreplay though to the sex, because I love the kissing and you know, I liked touching a lot back then, but I don't like being touched on my breasts now or vagina. I don't like that. I'm okay doing that with myself, but I don't want a guy to do that. I really don't like it. And so yeah, so he used to, like, we used to be naked together, and he used to do a lot of foreplay, which was the main thing I was interested in. But because he's had his foreplay for a long time, then it was like, okay, you have your sex now, you know. But I bought this Kama Sutra book for him, like a pocket book of cartoons.
Yeah.
But that was because I saw, when I was out with him once, he was looking at a book with real people with sex positions in it. And personally, for me, I don't like a guy looking at other naked people while I'm in a relationship with him. That's my personal preference. I don't like it. So in order to like satisfy him and make him happy, I bought him this little pocket cartoon book of Kuma Sutra positions. I gave it to him, bought it for a Christmas or birthday present. He put it in his wardrobe, and I just gave it to him like for him to look at, because I thought it'd be nice for him. Because I'm asexual and don't think that way, you know, I didn't realize he was going to use that book to then do multiple different sexual positions on me, with me and him. I didn't make that connection, because I don't associate me doing sex with him. I don't think like that, even though I have had sex with him.
Right.
You know? So when he started doing like, oh, you know, like, oh, this position, that position, I just let him get on with it. You know, I'm just like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I need your legs out here, and I need your legs up there. And I'm like, okay. So I just went with the flow and just basically went with whatever he wanted with that, because I wasn't bothered about sex. You know, I'd rather do the washing up. I'd rather listen to my headphones. When sometimes he used to try and instigate sex and touch my breasts while I was washing up, but I'm really not interested in that. I'd rather listen to my headphones with music in and do washing up. I hate washing up, because I was never really that interested in the sex. It was always about the kissing and the touching and that. But yeah, he was really nice in those times. I have to say he was an abusive guy in every other way, but I think it's rather the times that I loved with him in that moment, because he was kind and caring and considerate, put my needs first. he was like a completely different person when having sex, which I'm glad I had that experience. I'm glad he wasn't abusive. I'm glad it was a great experience, you know. So my last experience was a good experience. I'm glad that he wasn't like that, you know. And if I wanted to stop, anytime I want to stop, he would stop, even if it's about to come, even if it's about to explode his load in mid-flow. I would say, he'd always check with me and say, are you sure you want to stop? I'm like, yes, I want to stop. So he would always stop, which is another good thing, you know.
I'm so glad that you have experienced the consent, because this is really important. It's not because you gave a book. Yes, it was very suggestive, your action, but you always need to have the conversation and understand if both parties are happy to try something different. And in your case, you have too many different things to try in terms of positions.
Yeah, I was with him. I mean, before I understood more about sexuality and asexuality and sexual relationships, like with him, it was like kind of like ongoing consent, you know, like I was in this relationship and I was kind of expected to like have sex, but if I didn't want it and said no at any point or stop or I don't want to do it, then he would like not do it or stop. So that was kind of how it went. And yeah, with these different positions, there was one thing though I hated, which he bought me a Santa outfit. And I mean, I'm not interested in role play or anything, or I don't have fantasy. I'm not interested in that type of thing. I believe in reality, right? That's the way I am. And so I thought, yes, the costume looked really good on me, but then he bought it specifically for me to have sex with him. And I just felt really gross doing that, really. I did have sex with him, but I didn't like it. And since I split up with him, I actually went on my YouTube show years later. I found the costume and I ripped it. I think I cut it up with scissors, and I was so happy to cut it with scissors because I don't like that type of thing. I'm like, if you do want me sexually, you get me in my white pants and my black bra that's plain. I'm not into frilly stuff. Like, you have my real me, not living some other fantasy of something else. I'm all about authenticity, reality, raw, real me, not something like that. But yeah.
So basically you're saying you have a sexual Christmas trauma.
No, I love Christmas. I'm never traumatized by it. I don't even think about that at Christmas. Although at Christmas was one of the times I was expected to have sex with him. Like, but yeah, so but no, he got it and we sat in a chair and had sex, and that's what he wanted. Me sat on his lap as a Santa, and I'm like, oh my God.
Oh dear. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's not I didn't really
we
like
don't need more details, but yeah, thank you for sharing.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So I am aware, one day I went on social media and I have seen, and hopefully you're okay if we talk about that, and I have seen a picture of you with someone, and you shared, I found my soulmate.
Okay, yeah.
And I believe it didn't last more than 2 weeks. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And what actually has happened, because it was so strong, the term that you have used. I found my soulmate, and then suddenly it was not anymore. I just want to be very direct me here, and
Okay.
nosy, okay? And if you're not comfortable to talk about, we can skip. But
I've
I
been
just wonder if things didn't work because maybe
it
he
wasn't to do with sexuality or age, it was to do with
right
values, right?
with
So
what? Sorry.
I've been talking about this on my channel for 8 weeks now. Every week I talk about the breakup and what I'm going through, because I'm still in the grieving process to a certain
Oh,
extent.
bless
I've
you.
joined a club, as you know. I don't think you want me to mention the club, but it's really helping me learn more and stuff. A very supportive community. But yes, so it wasn't to do with sexuality, it wasn't to do with age difference. It was to do with the fact that his values are completely different to mine. He valued dishonesty, lying, disrespecting my time.
So he never was your soulmate in the first place.
He portrayed he was in the beginning and then wasn't. Yes. So obviously I'm working on myself to understand more about that situation and what happened, both from my point of view and his point
Yeah.
of view, you know. But I ignored my own advice, which I said on my channel. So yeah, and there was, you know, like, he lied in the beginning, but he logicked his way out of that, and so I accepted that, you know. And I think there's something quite damaging about society, which society expects you to forgive a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually have the rule that if someone lies, that's it, they're out of my life. I don't even give them a second look. I'm like, okay, that you're not my person, I'm going. And with him I didn't. And yeah, so he wasn't lying, he wasn't asexual, he never lied about that. He's heterosexual, never lied about that. he was lying about other things, and he changed his behavior and attitude towards me. And he wasn't valuing my time. Like, I wanted, he's turned up late to video calls and expecting me to just wait for him, and I'm like, it's not respecting my time. And so I actually had boundaries in place, and I got out of the situation, like, well, I told him about my boundaries and I stuck to them. I said that I was unhappy. I ended up with a lot of stress, like anxiety in that relationship, because I ended up not knowing where I stood with him. I ended up like, he ended up implying that I was the one that, when I went to him with the problem about, for example, I was angry about him being late on video calls, instead of him accepting that he shouldn't be late, he then turned it around on me going, well, I'm angry that you're angry and you're disrespecting me because you're angry with me.
Very narcissistic, centric.
Yeah, it's like gaslighting. And I'm thinking, I'm sure this is gaslighting, but because these people, they twist your mind around and they make it think that you're the problem, then they blur your reality. So when I got out of that situation, which I got out quickly, I'm in the end, he deceived me. In the end, he deleted his whole Facebook, but he was still calling me a couple of times. And I'm like, you deleted your whole Facebook. Clearly it's over. He's like, well, I didn't delete it. It was lying, going, I said, well, you did. I said, you blocked me. He goes, I didn't block you. I go, well, you did something to your Facebook. Oh, no, I got locked out of my account. I said, no. And he goes, oh, the problem with, he was blaming that on me, saying, oh, you don't trust me. And I'm like thinking, because you're not trustworthy. And so it went on. And in the end, he kind of wanted to get me off the phone. And I'm like, oh, bye, like, fine, I'm going. The next day, I never heard from him. So I ended it officially in a text. But something I've learned through a course I'm doing, that even if someone did end it with you, did they actually end it with you, or did you end it with them? So by maintaining my boundaries, in the sense that I would not accept the fact of him being late to video calls. Like, he was late three times. The first time was an hour and 10 minutes. He fell asleep, but he never set alarm, could have done.
All right.
The second time he told me, which was okay, he told me, which was good. So I accepted that. And then the next time he was late and didn't tell me. I didn't know. It wasn't only a few minutes late, 7, but it doesn't matter. The principle of the matter is, he didn't message me. And then he told me, he said, oh, I wouldn't care if a girl was 5 minutes late, 15 minutes late, half an hour late. It's romantic to wait for someone. I said, it's not. I said, I value my time. I said, I'm eating into my work time, because we're on different time schedules, because I usually do my work like later in the evening and night. So I usually work on a midday to like 4 a.m. in the morning schedule, that type of thing. And he finished his job at like 5, but at the time I got home, it was like 7. So I offered to move the time as well from 8 p.m. later, and he refused. So he wouldn't even cooperate like that. So in the end, when he went off the phone, he goes, oh, you should have changed your mind on the time. And I'm like, no. So he basically flipped the thing on me, and I'm like, oh my God, is this full narcissism? Is it just narcissistic traits? Whatever it is, isn't good. And I was really traumatized, to be honest. And it brought up old wounds for me, because I have been in narcissistic relationships in the past, and I'm like, oh my God, like, what got me to this stage? Why didn't I accept him? What happened? And so obviously I'm joined a club now, a yearly membership, which I'm getting a lot from, in lots of courses and lots of coaching, which has been incredible. And I'm really, like, helping myself to understand what went on, and that a lot of women end up in my position. And the book I'm reading that goes along with the course, it's fantastic. It breaks down all this type of stuff from the person, the person who wrote the book has actually got anxious attachment like I have. So, the coaching I get is run by someone like that. And this person, which I didn't know because it's not usually made public, has had a chronic pain condition for years, and he had to battle with that. So because he's got anxious attachment, and also because he's had chronic pain like I have fibromyalgia, and because he admits he lied in the past, and he admits that he knows how guys' minds work because he was not a good guy in the past. I like learning from someone like that. He's married now, and I think his book shows he's changed over the years. And so I'm really happy, like, he's a really top dating coach, and I'm really happy. Actually, his channel doesn't do him justice. Behind the scenes, he's much better. But I wanted to just say what I'm doing to help myself, and it's helping a lot to understand myself and the situation. But yeah, but I think it's important to know that just because I'm on social media, I'm not afraid of holding my hands up and saying, hey, I made a mistake. I didn't take my own advice, and show people it's okay if you tell people on social media you think this person's the one and they're not, and be brave and courageous enough to say, look, I made a mistake. They weren't the one. This is like what's gone on. At first, I was blaming myself, and then I realized it's not my fault. I mean, I knew his behavior wasn't really my fault, but he was saying stuff about my anxiety, trying to pin his bad behavior on my anxiety. But I was more and more anxious because of the way he was behaving, because he was inconsistent. He wasn't messaging me like he used to message me, wasn't saying
Oh,
like caring stuff. And so, yeah, and he was saying, and he was basically giving me the silent treatment for pretty much 2 days with this thing about the time.
yeah.
But I still didn't give in. I still didn't, when he came down to see me the final weekend, I said, like, what are you going to do? Because I'm unhappy. I actually said to him, like, is it okay if I talk to you about something? He's like, yeah, you don't have to ask my permission. I said about the timing again. And before he left, he gave me a false sense of security and hope. And he said, oh, I'll download a time management app. I'll sort it out. Therefore, I can manage my time better with you and my work and everything else. And I thought, this is good. And then instead
Oh,
of doing that, on the way home, he deleted his whole Facebook account and never had any intention of doing that.
of
And
course
so I'm
not.
just,
Yeah.
but in the
Oh,
beginning, he made mistakes and said he was sorry and he owned them. But in the end, he wasn't doing that. So
it's
I
just
thought,
part of the character, and I'm sorry you have been through all of this. I mean, it's not easy. You mentioned trust. And trust is something big for people that actually has a high standard. And I feel that because you already have been into toxic relationships in the past, now it's just life that has tested you again to just say how quickly you could spot that and actually overreact. And as you did, so well done for that. I think it's all part of the growth that we all have, through life, because we will meet people that will be testing us, will be teaching certain things to us. And look, the amazing lesson that he have gave to you. He has helped you to understand that you're not ready yet for a relationship, because now you're back to have the relationship with yourself, fall in love with yourself, put yourself first, understand what are actually your main needs that you can fulfill yourself. And
yeah,
then from there, you will be able to fall in love again because you have trusted and you fall in love with the person that really needs all the love from you, which is yourself, the person that you see every single day in the mirror. And now, you mentioned that you're going through a phase where you're having some health imbalance, let's just put it like this. And all of this is all caused by the stress that you have been through lately. And of course, the bubbly quality of life that you have that is always going to different theme parks and the clubs and enjoy your life.
yeah, I
And
can't
I
do
know,
theme parks and clubs at the moment.
yeah, and I know you also are now, you just mentioned, about the time, and I know we have spoken once about 4 a.m. and I was like, why are you doing awake at this time? So sometimes life needs to slow us down. And I did ask in the beginning, what you do for you slow yourself down? And I said, no, I don't. And I just have this energy. And it's like, oh, okay. So now we arrive at where exactly I was expecting that we would come to this interview. So you're actually sharing with us this, vulnerability about what you have learned from the past relationship, but also we can see that you are slowing down for you be able to listen to your heart, to listen to yourself, and then prepare yourself to whatever it's going to be this amazing relationship that's going to come for you. But whenever you feel more confident again, and give that step to feel that you can trust and everything can be within your standards with someone that actually can deserve you, that knows how to respect you, because there is nothing more beautiful than you be with someone that just value us for who we are, that can respect us independent of our gender, our identity. They respect us for our energy, and I have seen you mention in a few other interviews to the community LGBTQ plus A. And I would love to acknowledge this because we also on a Pride Month here in the UK. Yeah, I do have another interview with someone that have been through a transgender phase, and this is going to go live this week. And for me, it's just so amazing to be able to share with everyone that yes, we all have different qualities, traits, personality, and yes, maybe your energy can be too bubbly, you know, for someone that is an empath, that is an introvert. But you also will find the people that just can love you and accept you exactly because they love the type of energy that you bring. So we never should look and try to fit into any label or stereotype. But the journey should be always that journey of freedom and acceptance. Yeah, so I'm very, very proud of you. I'm glad that you're going through this phase where I'm sure is gonna take you to the place where you're supposed to be in 2 or 6 months down the line. It's not gonna take that long.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm liking focusing on my writing because we haven't really talked much about my writing. My writing is my hugest passion, followed closely by
We
helping
can
individuals.
see next to you your books. Yeah.
Yeah, this is my latest one. This is a bestseller this year. I have to say that I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, is this the one that we have launched around the same time?
Yes, that was really interesting. So
Oh,
yeah, this is
and we
Diary.
want bestseller around the same time because we have launched the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual 78 Life Lessons for Asexual Life. And so it was hot new release, #1 hot new release on Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk, and bestseller in multiple categories on both of them. And I think yours was as well, wasn't it, for a time? So
Awaken to Embrace Vulnerability Sexuality, which is down there on my shelf, so I'm gonna stick here on my chair.
yeah, so yeah, I love writing. It's my huge passion. So at the moment, I want to focus on my health is my main priority this year. I was actually sick before I got into the last relationship. In February, I was very poorly. So even before I got into the last relationship, I was sick, and then obviously that's not helped. It's that's gonna add to problems. But yeah, I had a lot of things going on in February, like major stuff, which was before I met him. I didn't meet him till March. So that was near a lot of that I was realizing was to do with stress. And I was like trying to sort it out myself before I met him. And then I got more stress like that. But I'm glad that, if I hadn't been for that event, then I wouldn't be in the club and doing the courses I'm doing now, which is like growing me exponentially. My intelligence levels is going really high now. Do you know what I mean? So I'm really, like, had I not had that difficult experience, I wouldn't have been prompted now to like, you're going to change your life, Sandra. Go and learn new stuff and go and be an even better version of yourself. Yeah. So for
Oh,
downtime, I do go to the cinema. I think I mentioned that. So cinema is
yeah.
something that chills me out. Watching movies is something that chills me out as well.
I'm just going to share when we have met was actually when we both have done a talk at Oxford University. Then we all went out for dinner, and then Sandra just said goodbye to everyone, and she said, "Oh, I'm going to go clubbing," and I was like, "What?" "Yeah, I'm going to go clubbing," and she was like, "Oh, sparkly dress," and I was like, "Well, she does have the energy."
Yeah.
Following day, she said, "Well, I have met this guy, and we kissed," and I was like, "Wow, she had a wonderful evening."
It's in my book actually. I talk about this and Blue Talks event because I talk about behind the scenes of my anxiety, how that actually was for me. But I talk about the guy and what happened with him, and I dissect the text messages he gave me as well, which sharpens people's bullshit detector in terms of dating, relationships, and what guys really mean when they text and reading between the lines. It's really good
Oh
actually.
yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely. And just something fun to share. When I have allowed myself to go into I called the laboratory experience, and check all of the dating apps. I know you mentioned one. Was it Bumble that you mentioned?
so Bumble I was on but came off some time ago. Badoo I was on. I've
That's the one.
and
Yes.
Facebook dating, but the 4 guys I've met at Facebook dating, my ex was from Facebook dating, by the way, my last ex, but all the 4 guys I met, they all turned out to be liars on there, every single one of them. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm having a break from dating. I'm actually still got a premium account on Badoo because I got it back because I haven't been with the last guy that long. It said you can get your account back, your premium, because I got premium for free. I was on it that long. They gave me the premium account for free. And so I'm like, I want to get that in case I want to do that in the future. But I literally got it back, but I'm not active on there. Like I go in there occasionally just to see that my account's still set up and then I come out because I'm purposely detoxing myself from dating sites at the moment as something I want to do for myself, because I want to rely on myself more and I don't want to get that dopamine hit from other people all the time. It's harder because I'm going through like the breakup grief as well as the dating detox stuff, And I was used to guys in my inbox for 10 years telling me I'm gorgeous, I'm beautiful, I'm sexy, I'm hot. And, I'm used to that. I'm used to that validation. but I do validate
We love
myself.
that. We
I
love
love
that. Yeah.
myself, you know. I do validate myself because I love my own body, even though I'm not skinny. I mean, I do date myself, and I'm like, I'm on a hot date with myself now and looking good for myself, you know.
But yeah, you mentioned something that everybody loves to hear. Oh, you look good, you look gorgeous, handsome, whatever. It's good for the ego. Yeah. But the reality is we are beyond our ego too. So we want much more than that. And we want the trust. You know,
Yeah,
we
obviously.
want to be able to meet people that we love to talk with that person. We love to have, you know, that banter, the jokes, and then everything else is just a consequence or not, because you may have a huge chemistry, yeah, but this is it. You don't have the friendship element, you cannot laugh together, it's only the chemistry element. So, yes, you need to have someone in your life that can give you everything. And that's when you know you have found your soulmate. You know, I think with me, it's very much like this. I always know that there is a soulmate to meet. And, you know, and I always was right, thank God. And they have been the soulmate, and I love the experience. Just going back to the dating apps, what goes on in your mind when you see those photos and all you need to do is literally scroll right, left, and make the decision? How you actually take your decision?
Okay.
I like or not?
Yeah, so it's good you're asking me because obviously I've got lots of experience of this. So I've been on dating apps and dating sites for like 10 years. And with me, I'm very upfront in my profile, in my bio about what I want. You know, like I don't want sex, I don't want marriage, I don't want kids, and I prefer to live separately, but I like kissing and cuddling. Unfortunately, the guys usually do not read my bio. All they do is like me by my picture. The amount of times that I get that, people think that they're always having their bio checked. That's a complete basically myth. There's hardly anyone that checks my bio. So on Badoo, I've got hundreds of likes, but these are just guys that like my picture. In a way, it's good because it means I'm so attractive. They just love
Yeah.
my beautiful face because I'm not showing off loads of my
Yeah.
body. I'm, you know, I'm just smiling. I don't usually, like, you'll notice I haven't got makeup on today. The majority of the time, I don't wear any makeup because I think I'm beautiful as I am, and I like the natural look. And I think if people don't think I'm beautiful as I am, that's up to them. But I think I'm beautiful natural. I love my hair. My hair's all natural, and so I like to show my personality. So in my photographs, I just take normal pictures of me, like when I'm at theme parks or when I'm like, you know, like wherever I am. If I'm at the cinema, like I got one of me in the toilet, that is a full body shot, but. So my experience on being on dating sites is people don't look, the guys don't look at my profile. But for me, I've got no problem approaching guys because I'm very like driven. I've got some masculine energy, if you like, which I like about myself. But, you know, that results in me approaching lots of guys. And so I'll say hi to guys. But, you know, I've learned, you know, that if they're just saying like hi, one word back, it'll be like you might ask them a little bit more. But unless they're going to like start talking to you back, you just basically move on, you know. And it's great for being immune to rejection because I'm used to getting rejected so much on dating sites. It doesn't bother me anymore. So I like the fact that with dating sites, you can talk about with guys from all over the world if you want, but obviously it's better to do it in your own country. You can talk about lots of different things with them. You can get to know different types of culture, background, what's going on in their life. But in my opinion and my experience, and also through what I've learned, most guys on dating sites are avoidant attachment. This means they're avoiding getting into real relationships. Most of them want hookups. A lot of them are emotionally unavailable. Some of them have narcissistic traits, but I can tell a lot of the time in text messages if they got narcissistic traits. I'm not saying all the time because obviously I went with my ex, but something I ignored, my own advice about dating apps, I ignored with my ex, which I admitted even when I got into the relationship, is if a guy puts, I want a serious relationship and a casual relationship in the same thing, it means they're contradictions and the guy usually doesn't know what he wants. So avoid talking to those guys, which this guy put it in his profile, and I thought I'll try and do something different to what I usually do, so I will still talk to this guy because maybe maybe if I do something different it will give me a different result, and it certainly gave me a result. Yeah. So but I ignored it, and there was then a lot of contradictions actually in that relationship. So for example, one of the things he said is, oh, you're a speaker but you speak fast, so why are you talking fast when you're a speaker? So you should be slowing down. So he's asking me to slow down. And part of my personality is talking fast. And I said, you know, like if I'm on stage, I'll slow down. But if I'm in general conversation with someone and just being me, then I will talk fast because part of my personality. Anyway, I listened to what he said. Then on the last weekend, we we're in the cinema and he was bored, I think. And he's like, oh, I usually watch YouTube videos at 1.5 speed because I get bored when people talk slowly. And I'm like, so you were purposely making me unattractive to you and making me be something I'm not. But that was one contradiction. There was many other contradictions in that relationship that turned out, and I'm like, oh my God. So if I'd have listened to my own advice about the guy contradicting himself in just his profile saying that thing about both of them, which he logicked out with me, he goes, well, every relationship's casual, isn't it? Until it becomes a serious relationship. That was his logic. I'm like, okay. But I'm thinking, well, me and you weren't casual. You were like messaging me and like video calling me for hours. So yeah, there's a lot of things like you can tell in someone's profile if people are not taking, personally, I believe, like if someone's not taking life seriously, they're not going to take a relationship seriously. So if any guys put in their profile that I don't take life seriously, then I'm not interested in them, because I'm like, you're not taking life seriously, you're not going to take my relationship with you or me seriously. So I personally avoid people like that. I like clean shaven guys. I have like beard repulsion, so it's really difficult for me because I do not like beards. So that's kind of hard. So when I'm interacting with people, you know, guys, I don't mind talking. I can approach them, but unless they keep the conversation going, that's it. I move on. If they stop the conversation and it's their turn basically to talk, and I haven't heard from them for like usually within 48 hours on Facebook dating, might give them, some of them I might give like 5 days leniency to, or a week at the very most. But usually after a few days, I haven't heard from them, that's it, they're out. They're like, you know, deleted, because I have this filtering system, which is really good to do with dating. You know, you're filtering out all the people that are wrong for you. And if I need a lot of communication in a relationship, so if a guy isn't speaking to me regularly, he's out the door because he's not suitable for me. You know, so I think like dating should be used as a filter system to find out like and narrow down what you're actually interested in. But in my experience of dating apps today, a lot of them have got guys that are not being honest on there, that are avoiding, that are emotionally unavailable, and don't really want to put the time, energy, and effort into a serious committed relationship. And a lot of them have things in their past that they haven't actually worked through or even trying to work through.
Well, that's true, but this is not just for the guys, I believe for the women
Yeah,
too. You know,
yeah. So
it's yeah, let's not just say this is just for the guys, because
yeah,
we know that if we are trying that, it's because we have a baggage that we potentially have not dealt with. And I'm saying that because I also have been there, you know, once upon a time. And I did use the term laboratory because there was a time that actually I have used that. And this is one of the areas where I have studied, you know, to be helping people within the relationships, understanding what was people needs, their fears, their insecurities that they had about themselves, about relationships. So for me, it was great. I have met, there was a time that I have spoken with over 500 people, yeah, just to try to understand and get to know them. Within 2 weeks, those same profiles, they would have disappeared, because honestly, they have moved on, found someone, or they have gave up, or they have found someone, delete the profile, it didn't work, and then they was back again within the 2
yeah.
weeks.
I mean, there's been really crazy things. Like there's this guy on Badoo who would always keep trying to, he would create new profiles and try and connect with me, even though I blocked him, or you know, he would come back as a different profile and try and talk to me again. This was a British guy actually. At first I thought he's a nice guy. In the first one I actually did a call with him, video call. I thought he was respectful, and in the end he admitted to me in a text like, I'm not actually going to meet up with you, Sandra, because I do need sex, even when he said he could live without it. And that's the truth. I don't think it's fair to you. I'm thinking, okay, this guy's good to admit that. He was respectful in the end, he left my life. Then he comes back as another profile and starts asking me to be a sugar mummy. I'm like, one, I do not need to pay for sex. I've got a load of guys that want sex with me. I have loads of guys love sex. They would love to have sex with me. I get guys all the time I get the highly sexual guys attracted to me all the time. And I mean highly sexual guys, So I don't have a problem getting sex. And I like younger guys, but definitely not to mother. I'm not interested in doing cooking or cleaning or housework for a guy. If he wants to do that for me, that's great, but I'm not interested in any of that, you know, and I'm not interested in mothering a guy. I don't want kids. I've never wanted it since I'm 15, and I know that's not what I'm interested in. So it was just so rude, like, and then he kept still coming back. And like, this is crazy. I had different profiles, and one picture was always usually the same, but he would change some other pictures up, or one or two of them is the same. And I'm like, oh my God. And so yeah, you got that. And then so you do get guys on there, and there's some crazy stuff that goes on. But I'm talking about guys because I'm only attracted to guys. I know guys have problems with women because they put in their profile, if you're after money, I'm not interested, don't message me. So they get asked for money on dating sites. They get people who are fake. They're like, oh, if you're a fake profile, which there are fake profiles that exist on dating sites, then they're like, you know, don't contact me. If you can't be bothered to talk, then don't contact me. But it's really interesting because occasionally I've messaged some of the people that complain that other people don't want to talk, and then they don't want to talk to me. And I'm like, well, you've got to be able to like practice what you preach. If you don't like the fact that other people are not talking to you, then, you know, if I'm connecting with you, then you should be, you know, talking if that's what you want. But, you know, some people are very interesting, shall we say. So yeah, they do. I know people, I think guys have got asked to be bought stuff for women, like gifts, like mobile phones and all sorts of stuff as well. This is what I've seen guys put in their profile, you know. So I've seen you know, they put some of the problems with women in their profile, but obviously that is a bit off-putting because they're just listing a lot of problems with women. Which if I, you know, if I have difficulties with guys, I don't usually put it in my profile, part of my bio, you know what I mean?
They're probably trying to save their time, just saying, right, if you are one of those that tick these boxes, do never contact me at all.
Yeah, sometimes it's good, I think. Sometimes, you know, like if you're time wasters and stuff like that, or fake accounts and stuff, because I know the guys do seem to get asked for a lot of money and things like that, and to be bought gifts and stuff, and that is not good either.
No, they're just scammers. Come on. No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Every woman deserves an alpha and an omega in their life. And if you can have both to balance the energy with yours, why not?
Yeah, I have some male traits, if you like, masculine traits, but I like that about myself, you know. But I'm clearly I like being female as well. I like having long, beautiful hair and wearing skirts and stuff. But in summer, winter it's too cold, really. But yeah, I like dressing up. But when I go clubbing, you know, I love wearing skirts. But I wear short skirts into the city, you know, like I like a short skirt. My mum and dad are very conservative. They're opposite to me. And they're like, they don't like short skirts. I'm like, I'm sure I look horrible. Personally, for me, I'm not feeling good in a long skirt. I'm not going to wear long skirts, you know. I like my short skirts.
Well, and let's just remember you're only 21 anyway. So yeah.
I'm 21 every single year. I love it. And that's what I think. In order to be 21, you've got to think like a 21-year-old, act like a 21-year-old. I believe I can do everything a 21-year-old does if I want to. I don't drink alcohol. I haven't drank alcohol since I was 19. So that's like, what, 2 years ago?
Oh, that's really good. Wow.
Yeah. So but if I do go clubbing, which I can't do at the moment, then because I've got injuries at the moment, then you know, I'm there clubbing until 2 or 3 or longer in the morning. And some of the people, like some of the guys, it's so funny. Some of the guys I meet in clubs, because I do have kissing needs. And if I'm comfortable enough, I will let a guy kiss me. I decided that in 2019 consciously. And but some of the guys I dance with who are in birth certificate age in their early to mid 20s, usually, because that's what I'm interested in. I'm an asexual cougar. I like younger guys, foreign guys particularly. Then they'll be like getting tired. And they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go home because I'm tired. And I'm like, and they're like, I said, okay, bye, I'm staying here. And they look at me, gone out. And some of them are like, oh no, I'll stay, because I think that's what happened with the guy in Oxford actually. When I went clubbing at the end, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go now. I'm like, okay, you can go. I'm staying here. And he's like, oh, I'll stay with you. Because some of them get really tired. Like some of them are like, obviously because I'm not having sex and doing sexual stuff, that might be another reason, but they could just go off with some other women, they could dance with some other people, but they don't. They start getting their phone out, then they're going, oh, you know, I've got to go. But I think part of it's tiredness, and part of it's probably because I'm asexual and they're not getting the sexual stuff they want from me because I'm giving them boundaries. You know, I'm very good with guys in closer boundaries. I'm like, you can touch, you know, you can't touch here, you can't touch down there, put your hands behind my back, kiss me. I'm like, Why? I said, because I don't like sex and I don't want you to touch me there. So I'm very different to the person I was in terms of being in the counselor's office. You know, like I'm okay to be around heterosexual guys now because I'm very strong in my boundaries. I've always been strong about telling a guy like no if I don't want to have sex anyway, even my ex, you know, when he was in full flowing mode and it's like I want to stop now, you know. So I've always been good at that, but I'm better now when I'm actually in scenarios like in clubs and stuff, you know, with where they can and can't touch. And so I'm a lot more secure and safe because, you know, of myself. Not everyone unfortunately abides by that though. I have had the occasional guy overstepping the mark, which has not been good, you know, which like one guy did that and it's like I never saw him again. I thought, yeah, I know why I didn't see you again, because you were doing stuff you shouldn't have been doing. So
Of course. Let's just change the subject. I would love you to share three tips that you can have in terms of when you are in pain and you're going through, the fibromyalgia, and as we know, it's an illness that doesn't have really a cure yet. So, people that actually suffer with the fibromyalgia, like my mother, for example, you just need to make sure that you watch for what you're eating, you make sure that your body are not going through that inflammation phase, and detox is also extremely important. But what are the tips that are on your book that you
I
can
was
share?
going to say, I got a book, I got a book
Yes, I
out.
know.
Yeah, that's to reduce pain, have more energy, and feel happier like a superhero rock star. So I talk about this. It's autobiographical, so I share everything. So basically, in this book, I talk about 25 aspects of pain you need to reduce in your life. So there's 25 different aspects of your life that you can use, that you can focus on to reduce your pain. So they're
Mhm.
like the inner elements and the outer elements I talk about. So for example, with me, with my fibromyalgia,
Yeah.
I use the power of my mind to block out the pain. So it's when I get other illnesses and injuries on top that I feel the pain. So I kind of put a pocket in my mind of where the pain is and I keep it in that pocket, if you know what I mean. It's very hard to explain. It's something I've been able to do. So I don't take any painkillers for fibromyalgia, but one of the things that really helps is the foods that you eat
Of
and the
course.
foods you don't eat and the things you drink and what you don't drink. So wheat is really bad for fibromyalgia and any chronic fatigue condition. People shouldn't have wheat because it makes them tireder. So the more you eat wheat, or any wheat you have, will make you more tired, will make you more lethargic, will make you in more pain. So wheat shouldn't be ate. Sugar, I don't have any refined sugars whatsoever. So sugar should be cut out as well. So, you know, and a lot of people, they'll drink alcohol, but alcohol's got a lot of sugar in it as well as
Mm.
other things. So, you know, no alcohol. I happen to be allergic to nearly everything that's bad for fibromyalgia and more besides, unfortunately. I'm allergic to berries, which are antioxidants, and I can't have berries usually, you know, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries. So you know, but wheat I can't have. Gluten is bad as well, and like I said, sugar. So I do have a lot of people that I come into contact with people who have got fibromyalgia, but they won't give up wheat because they're not strong and disciplined enough to be able to do that. But it is like it's making them bedridden. I don't get usually bedridden. I mean, I end up being on the bed resting if I've got other illnesses and problems. But with fibromyalgia, I'm not usually bedridden because I don't eat the things that zap my energy. Sugar takes away your energy. Wheat takes away your energy if you've got fibromyalgia. So definitely, you know, you should watch what you eat and what you
Mhm.
drink. I talk about in my book as well, about things I eat. Like there's a certain thing I eat that literally solves a lot of the pain in my legs, which is a fish, which is mackerel basically. And I have to make sure I have mackerel nearly every day. I don't particularly like mackerel, so I put herbs and stuff on it. But the omega-3s, the high level, so you can get different fishes with different omega-3s.
Yeah.
The high level in mackerel, it like bathes my legs so that I'm able to even like run up a road sometimes and stuff like that. It, it,
Mhm.
it like oils the legs, and that's like one of the main things I reveal in this book, which I don't usually talk about to the public. But yeah, and but you have to pretty much eat it. To get the best results, you need to eat it really every day. Or if I leave it for a few days, I can feel the pain. It actually helps ease pain in the abdomen as well. And
Right.
in other parts of the body, it reduces the pain. So, you can get omega-3 supplements, but if you can get it
Yeah.
through the actual fish itself,
Mm.
then it's going to be better for you. So
Absolutely.
I found that in 2014, I discovered that. Something else I do is things you wear as well can really impact you, because you can have pain impressions on your arms by things you wear.
Yeah.
So one thing I discovered, which I talk about in my Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, is to wear trainer socks. I wear trainer socks all year round without fail, including all the winter months, because they have to be air vented ones though. And when they're air vented, it allows the air to circulate and it stops the feet from swelling. And I use memory foam slippers. I can't wear normal slippers. They make my feet swell. So years ago, when I first had fibromyalgia, I got to the point where I could barely walk from my bed to the toilet. My
Oh,
feet would
wow,
swell
bless
up and
you.
yeah, my feet would swell up underneath. The soles would be red. It would be puffy, and it would be so painful to just walk in normal slippers that I didn't realize about I needed memory foam, and to just walk. And I at that point, I think I was I was between jobs, I think, at that point, or I'd left a job or something. But I'm like, how am I ever gonna get another job if I can't even walk from my bed to the toilet without my feet swelling? I can't put any pressure. I actually saw a podiatrist who gave me insoles, but that made my feet worse, because my feet, soles of my feet are so sensitive. So I have to have memory foam slippers, proper memory foam slippers. The sole has to be memory foam. And I often have to buy memory foam insoles to put in my shoes as well, because
Oh.
the normal insoles are too firm for my feet. And I have a
Mhm.
special made bed, like a pocket sprung bed. I'm giving a lot of tips here. A pocket sprung bed, which is, all the individual springs and everything. It's like, it's very expensive. It was when I was a manager I bought it actually, and
Worth
it's
it.
like lots of fillings in, like silk and mohair and everything like that. But I have to even have a topper on that, memory foam topper. And then I have to, like, recently I bought a new duvet, because I have to have a lot of cushioning for my body, because
Mhm.
my body has a lot of pressure points. So by cushioning, I don't actually lie in the bed. I don't put the duvet over me. I lie on the duvet and have blankets on top of me, because I find that's more comfortable for my pain condition. And I would also stress that if you are doing dating and relationships, make it known that you have that condition, and that, because housework really hurts me. Like, washing up hurts me. Like, it's really bad. It's like just a certain position. It's so painful. I mean, I don't do the washing up every day. I leave it for days.
But you said you enjoy more washing up than sex. I remember.
Yes, that's what I mean. I hate washing up that much, but I'd rather do washing
Oh
up.
my God.
Yeah, exactly. I hate washing up. I hated it back then, but it actually gives me a lot of
Okay.
pain. So I refuse, like, if a guy ever does come in my home or whatever, I'm like, you bring your own food and you do your own washing up, and you do this yourself. I'm not doing it for you, because it causes me more pain. I've learned through my journey through fibromyalgia, you have to, like, put your own health first in that respect. And you have to, like, say, I'm not doing this stuff, it hurts me. I'll do my own if I have to, because I have to do it, but I'm not doing yours as well, because that degrades the quality of my life.
Bless you, Sandra.
And I find being in a bed with someone really difficult. I prefer being on my own. Really. Romantically, I like being in bed with someone, but if a guy's near my pressure points, it's just really not good for me. And I've got a double bed all to myself for more
Yeah.
space. And also, obviously, emotional pain creates a lot more physical pain. So you have to try and keep your stress levels down as much as possible. And that's why, if you do end up getting into a bad relationship, it's better to admit that you're not in a good relationship and leave quickly than it is to stay and continue on in the relationship. You give them a chance to put it right, say this is this and this, are you not happy with, why? And listen to, if they say stuff back, to see what they're talking about as well, what their point of view is. But if they're not making you happy, and they are displaying narcissistic traits and lying and doing all the stuff, they're not good characteristics, then you have to leave in the end. I did tell the guy, my last ex, I said, this is not sustainable. I told him I'm getting anxiety induced. I actually got a stress rash. I sent him a photograph, and I said, like this thing about the timing and not knowing where I stand is like, it's just like, I'm getting really poorly, and I was crunching on the bed because I have anxiety. My stomach was hurting. I'm like, I can't go on like this. It's not sustainable for me. So, I was looking for him to do something about it, which he said he would, and then did the opposite. So, but I knew it was unsustainable. He did, one of the things he said on the phone was, oh, because he was talking about moving to my city, but then he was toying with the idea of staying where he is and moving to my city, and it was all kind of like up in the air. And so in the end, on the phone, one of the things he said was, oh, I'd be worried if I came to live in your city and 6 months later you split up with me. that's because he knew that he wasn't treating me well. If he'd have treated me
He
well,
knew, he just was testing, to see what sort of games he could play with you. That's the reality. Sandra, I'm really enjoying to have this conversation with you, but we will need to start wrapping up. So I would love you to just say your goodbyes and just share any key message that you haven't shared yet. So I'm gonna open the space for you.
okay. So from a practical point of view, go and get my books on Amazon. So the Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, the Dark Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual. I'm going to say something else in a minute. And then Asexual Perspectives, which I haven't really talked about. Because these are like really good books. All
All
non-fiction.
bestsellers, yeah.
And you can find me on asexualize.com, my website, or Asexualize My Asexual Life YouTube show. And in terms of like a message, it's important to be different and to show the world your unique difference, because your difference is your beauty.
Yay! That is wonderful. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to share the space with you, learn all of your, I would say, crazy, insightful stories. But you have done exactly what I expected from every single guest, but they just be themselves. We're not here to say that we're doing the right or the wrong thing. We're just here to be raw and say, yes, whoa, we are humans, we are divine human beings, we commit mistakes, we're learning, we are evolving and trying to understand how's the best way to live life and leave our legacy, which is exactly what you're doing anyway. So thank you so much and see you next time. Thank you everyone that have stayed until all of this duration of the program with us, and follow us, leave your comments. Bye.